The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Anna strode to the central podium, her boots echoing against the crystalline floor. Around her, representatives from 47 species watched with barely concealed horror, their translucent membranes quivering, their antennae drooping in what could only be described as collective dread. Honored delegates, Anna began, her voice calm and measured. I present humanity's tactical assessment of the Kresh invasion fleet. The holographic display flickered to life, showing the massive armada that had been terrorizing the outer colonies for 3 cycles. Supreme Chancellor Vexthal, a being of pure thought given form through bioluminescent gases, pulsed an anxious orange. Ambassador Anna, we have already concluded this threat is insurmountable. The Kresh possess 17,000 warships, each capable of glassing a planet. The Council recommends immediate evacuation of all inhabited worlds in their path. Anna smiled, a gesture that made several delegates instinctively recoil. Humans and their teeth-baring expression still unnerved most species. With respect, Chancellor, humanity has a different approach. She touched her wrist console and the display shifted. The delegates gasped or performed their species equivalent of gasping. The tactical projection showed human vessels, laughably small compared to the Kresh dreadnoughts, executing maneuvers that violated every established principle of void warfare.
This, Anna continued, is what we call the Kivan Protocol,
named after Commander Kivan Chen, who first employed it during the Proxima incident. Representative Zil Ruth of the Preservation Collective made a keening sound of distress. Those ships they're flying directly toward the enemy weapons. This is suicide. It would be, Anna agreed, if we valued our ships over our people the way you do. But humans learned long ago on our Deathworld that the best defense is overwhelming offense. Commander Kivan's fleet doesn't dodge, they charge. By the time the Kresh targeting systems lock onto our vessels, we're already inside their defensive perimeter, too close for their primary weapons to track. The display showed human fighters weaving between Kresh destroyers like predators among prey, unleashing devastating close-range attacks before the larger ships could respond. Chancellor Vexthal pulsed a deep crimson. But the casualties? Your pilots volunteered, Anna interrupted smoothly. Every single one. You see, honorable delegates, you've been trying to fight the Kresh the way civilized species fight wars, maintaining distance, preserving resources, calculating acceptable losses. The problem is the Kresh think the same way. They expect you to retreat when overwhelmed, to negotiate when cornered. She leaned forward, and her eyes held a glint that reminded everyone present why humanity's homeworld was classified as a Class 12 Deathworld, the highest danger rating in the known galaxy. Humans don't surrender. We can't afford to. Where we come from, everything wants to kill us. Our microbes, our weather, our very atmosphere trained us for 60,000 generations to fight when cornered. The Kresh? They're about to learn what happens when you corner a species that evolved by refusing to die. The display shifted again, showing Commander Kivan on the bridge of the UNSC Relentless. His face was eerily calm as his ship dove into a formation of Kresh heavy cruisers. Sir, we're reading weapons lock from all sides, his tactical officer reported. Kivan's response was broadcast to every human ship in the fleet. Good. They're looking at us instead of our planets. All ships execute Protocol 14. Ambassador Talara of the Harmony Sphere whimpered. What is Protocol 14? Anna's smile widened. Ramming speed. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates were shouting, pulsing, emitting distress pheromones. Supreme Chancellor Vexthal burned nearly white with shock. You use your ships as kinetic weapons? Only when conventional tactics fail, Anna said calmly. Commander Kivan calculated that a frigate traveling at 0.7 light speed carries more destructive potential than any missile. The Kresh never anticipated it because no rational species would sacrifice ships that way. That's humanity's advantage. We're not entirely rational. We're adaptable, crazy, willing to do what you consider insane. The hologram showed the aftermath. The Kresh formation shattered, their fleet in disarray. Kivan's ship had taken 3 others with it, in a spectacular collision that released enough energy to destabilize the enemy's entire left flank. He died? Whispered Counselor Mareth, their vocal sacs deflating. He survived, actually, Anna replied. His escape pod was recovered 40 minutes later. He's currently commanding the defense of the Arcturus sector. Humans are remarkably difficult to kill. Another benefit of evolving on a death world where survival is a daily achievement. She advanced to the next slide. The Kresh fleet engaged Commander Kievan 3 times. After the third engagement, they withdrew from our space entirely. Not because we destroyed their fleet, we only eliminated about 30% of it. They left because they realized that every battle would cost them more than victory was worth. We convinced them that humans fight like we have nothing to lose because on our world, we've been doing exactly that since we climbed down from the trees. Supreme Chancellor Vexthal had cycled through the entire visible spectrum and settled on a pale, uncertain blue. This is unprecedented, terrifying, effective. Which brings me to why I'm here, Anna said. The Council has 3 options. 1. Continue your evacuation and lose the outer colonies. 2. Accept human tactical advisors and learn to fight like Deathworlders. Or 3. Commission the human fleet as auxiliary council forces and let us handle the Kresh in our own special way. The silence that followed was profound. Finally, Councillor Mareth spoke, their voice trembling. If we choose option 3, will you promise to never use these tactics against council members? Anna's expression softened slightly. Councillor, humans don't make war on our allies. We save our insanity for our enemies. That's what makes us good friends and terrifying opponents. The vote was unanimous. As Anna left the chamber, she heard Chancellor Vexthal mutter to his aide, "Remind me never to anger the humans. Any species that considers suicide charges a tactical option is not one we want as adversaries." Anna smiled to herself. Mission accomplished. Humanity had just secured its place in the galactic community, not through diplomacy or trade, but by being exactly what they'd always been, survivors from a world that refused to let them survive easily. And somewhere in the Arcturus sector, Commander Kievan was already planning his next insane tactical maneuver. Because that's what humans did best: adapt, overcome, and absolutely terrify everyone else in the process.